Okay, guys, so this video is for the ser notes, the ones that say ser on one side, and oraciones, which are sentences, on the other, and that sheet with the cartoons on it that has the subjects in Spanish. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at those ser notes at the top. At the top of this should be on a pink note sheet. It says verbos en español. Before you use a verb in Spanish, you must conjugate it. So our word for the blank number 1 is conjugate. Conjugate means to match a subject with your verb. If in English I say I walk, I need that I there to tell you who's doing the walking, or else you just think I'm shouting the word walk at you. There are 10 subjects, so the second blank is 10, and 6 ways to conjugate. So the second blank on that second line is 6 ways to conjugate verbs in Spanish. The subjects are, so here on this board, you can see the subjects in Spanish. So, at the top we have ser, which means to be. So, you've got a little blank there that says ser means, and then you're going to put to be. We use ser to describe the permanent state of something. So, I am tall. I'm always going to be tall. I'm not going to get super short. I have brown hair. My hair is permanently brown. Unless I dye it, it's going to stay that way. I am a girl. I'm always going to be a girl. So, that is why we use ser. There's another verb that means to be, so keep in mind why we would use ser, because eventually we're going to learn the other one. So, this is what you need to copy down onto your note sheet in the section under where it says ser means. So make sure you copy down this grid. This right here is él/ella/usted. Over here we have ellos/ellas/ustedes, because these subjects are going to take all together in the same block. So if you want to look at the sheet with the cartoon faces on it, I can go ahead and help you fill that in. So the first block that you see just has one face in it, and it says I and then has a line. You fill that one in with yo. The way you say I in Spanish is yo. The one down from that has somebody pointing at somebody, and that one says you. You're going to fill that blank in with tú. Please, in that box, write familiar and the word informal. So, familiar, informal. The reason you want to write that in that box is because you're going to use tú to describe people that you're familiar with, people that you know, so like classmates, people that are your same age, your siblings. You can use tú with me because I'm giving you permission, but most of the time with adults, you would use this down here, which is usted. Usted is you formal. So, in the next box down, at the very bottom of that sheet, you're going to see something that says you formal. Please fill that in with usted. Usted is a term of respect. It's how you say you to someone that you have respect for. So a boss, a principal, the superintendent, somebody that's really high above you, you're going to use usted with. In Spanish-speaking countries, they use usted with their teachers. But in the U.S., we're a little bit more informal with our teacher relationships. So you can call me tú. These ones up here that we skipped, we have él. Él means he. So on the blank that says he, please fill in él. Make sure you have the accent, because without the accent, it means the. Just like the difference between años and anos, years and buttholes. Make sure you have your punctuation on your letters, or they will be wrong and they'll mean something completely different. And then she. She is ella. If you can't see the way that's spelled, that's E-L-L-A. Ella. All right, up here we have nosotros. Nosotros is we. So in the box on the blank that says we, put that up there. So nosotros, you are one of those people. When you use the word nosotros, you have to be one of the people. And then you're going to see a box that has a big X through it. In that box, please write the word vosotros. Vosotros means y'all in Spain. I'm teaching you Latin American Spanish, so I want you to be able to speak to more people than just people in Spain. So what I'm going to have you do is we're not going to worry about conjugating in this form, which means that you only have 5 forms of the verb to worry about instead of 6. Happy day for you. That means for all of Spanish at North Union, you do not have to worry about the vosotros form of any verb, which is really, really nice because this form has accents on it. I just want you to know what it means. Vosotros means y'all in Spain. That's all you need to know about that box. Down here, we've got the third person plural box. We have they, the they masculine, the they where the person is pointing to a group of guys. Ellos. Ellos, E-L-L-O-S. Ellos is they when there's any guys involved. You can have a group of 50 girls, but as soon as you add one boy, it becomes ellos. Right underneath of ellos, you see a blank where it says they, feminine, and it's a person pointing at a group of girls. That's ellas. Ellas is they, feminine. So if you have that group of 50 girls, they're ellas. You add one boy, and they become ellos. Then we have ustedes. Ustedes is you all, plural. So you plural, you all, y'all, you guys. If you're talking about you and it's more than one person, so if you're looking at a group of people and you say, you guys need to come with me, that's ustedes. When I address the class, I normally call you guys ustedes. Or I call you guys. It means the same thing. So that's what ustedes is. If you see 2 names written down, your subject is going to be ustedes. All right. So let me erase some of the stuff that I put in these boxes. Looking back at the ser notes, we have to figure out how to say ser in these different subjects. So I've got yo. How you say ser in the yo form is soy. S-O-Y. Soy means I am. Then you've got tú. The tú also has an accent. I forgot to mention that. Tú is eres. Eres. E-R-E-S. Eres. Then you've got the él, ella, usted form. The he, she, you, it form. Es. E-S. Es. He is, she is, you are, it is. Then we've got the nosotros form. The nosotros form is somos. So that means we are. Then we've got ellos, ellas, ustedes. The ellos, ellas, ustedes form is son. So our forms of ser that you need to have written down on your note sheet are soy, eres, es, somos, son. So repeat these after me. Soy, eres, es, somos, son. These are your forms of the verb to be. So anytime you need to use the verb to be, you need to use one of these forms. If you need to say I am, you use soy. If you need to say you are, you use eres. If you need to say he or she is, es. We are, somos. They are, or you all are, son. So that is how you use to be. Every verb in Spanish is going to look like this. You're going to have 5 different ways to say the same verb based on the subject you're trying to talk about. So looking at the bottom of your sheet, There are 6 practice activities down there, and I'm going to erase this so that I can do them with you. So, we've got I am tall. I am, yo soy, and then tall, alto. If you're a girl, which I am, it would say alta, because we used on that vocab sheet where we had all the adjectives that ended in O and then they had the A's behind them. The O is for boys and the A is for girls. So yo soy alta means I am tall. Then we have he is nice. He is él. Él. And then you have to use the form of ser that's in the same box as this subject. So él es, and then nice and simpático. Because it's a boy, we're going to keep the O because the boy is masculine. We want the O to stay masculine. We are funny. We is nosotros. We are is somos. So the form of the verb ser that's in the same box as nosotros is somos. Somos funny. So we need our accent over cómico. And then because nosotros somos, there's more than one person. So we need an S, cómicos. It needs to agree in number with the number of people that it's talking about. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and try the next 3 on that sheet on your own. Then when you're done, unpause it so you can check your answers. All right, so hopefully you actually paused the video to try the next 3 on your own. Let's look at the first one. She is blonde. She is ella. You have to use the form of ser that's in the same box as ella. So it's S, and then blonde is rubia. We're using the A here because we're talking about a girl. Then we have you informal are timid. You informal would be tú. I had you write informal in that box so that you would know that if it's an informal you use tú. So the form of ser that's in that box is eres. Tú eres. And then we have timid. Tímido. If you're talking to a girl, you would make this O and A. But we're going to pretend like the you is a boy because we don't know who we're talking to. You all are serious. You all is ustedes. So you all are, son, ustedes son, and then serious is serio, but because this is more than one person here, we're going to make this serios so that it agrees in number. If you have any questions, I am happy to help you with this. All right, on the next section of the notes, if you flip that paper over, you have a section that says oraciones. Oraciones are sentences. So it's how you form sentences in Spanish. So, sentence structure in Spanish is slightly different than what you see in English. I'm sure that's not a surprise. Both types of sentences require a, same as in English, subject and a verb. So your blanks in that paragraph are going to be subject and verb. Please fill those in. You have to have both to make a sentence in either Spanish or English. So now we've got our English example. It's how we form a sentence in English. So the first blank for English is going to be the required section. That is the subject. The subject is required in English. I can't say walk. I have to say I walk or you walk. Then we've got the verb. the verb's pretty important, or else you don't have an action in your sentence and it doesn't mean anything. If I was going to say I walk to the store and I forget my verb, it's I to the store. Doesn't make any sense. So then you're going to add maybe an adjective, and I'm going to abbreviate it for space. So it's an adjective. It says optional because not all sentences have adjectives. And then you're going to have a noun. And I ran out of board. So a subject, a verb, an adjective, and a noun. That's the order in English. So an example is, my marker's running out. I eat, here's my verb, yummy fruit. So I eat yummy fruit. If I take out yummy, it's still a complete sentence. I eat fruit. That still makes sense. But if I were to take out the it just says eat fruit. That just sounds like I'm yelling at you and telling you to eat fruit. It doesn't tell you that I am the one who eats the fruit. So we need to have that I in there. And if you want extra proof that a sentence is a sentence with just a subject and a verb, I eat. It's a complete thought. I eat. It's a true story. I do. So let's look at the sentence structure in Spanish. In Spanish, the first thing has optional behind it. And the first thing that's in a sentence in Spanish is the subject. So just like in English, we have our subject and we have our marker that's running out. And then, so we get the plus sign. We've got a verb. Just like in English, we got subject, verb. And then the next section is actually going to be our noun. So pretend like you can see that this says noun. And then our last one is the adjective, which I'm abbreviating because I don't have space. So, the adjective we know is optional because not all sentences have adjectives, but how in the world could a subject be optional? We'll have to look at that. So, if I'm going to talk to my dog, Logan. Logan's over here laying in his bed. Here he comes now because I said his name. Logan, tú eres. Hopefully you can see that. Tú eres. I'm going to call him un perro because he's a perro. Un perro flaco. So, he's a skinny dog. Tú eres un perro flaco. You can hear him shake. So, without my adjective, it's just, you're a dog. Because he's a dog. But this verb right here actually means, all by itself, it means you are. So this tú is unnecessary. If I told him, eres un perro, he would know he's a dog. This actually says you are a dog. So that's how you can eliminate your subject in Spanish. One thing to keep in mind with Spanish is that since our noun comes before our adjectives, we're talking about the thing that we're describing before we describe it. So, I'm going to tell you that I'm talking about a dog before I tell you anything about that dog. So, if I tell you that he is fluffy and black and that he's pretty big, you don't know what it's going to be if I'm talking to you in English, because in English, all those adjectives would come before the noun. But because in Spanish, the dog comes first, you know that I'm talking about a dog. So let's look at this paragraph right below those formulas. It says the subject. So that blank is going to be subject. And I apologize that my marker is dying. So the subject in Spanish is built into the verb. The subject in Spanish is built into the verb. Meaning that once it's been stated, you do not need to restate it. So unlike in English, if I have a run-on sentence with a bunch of different verbs in it, I don't have to keep saying she before every one of them. When you are using yo, nosotros, or tú, the subject is implied by the verb. So, the subject in Spanish is built into the verb, meaning once it's been stated, you do not need to restate it. When using yo, nosotros, or tú, the subject is always implied by the verb and it does not need to be stated. This is because if you look back at your sheet with the cartoons on it, everything's separated into boxes. Yo has its own box. Tú has its own box. And nosotros has its own box. So all three of those, the four forms that they take, can only result in those subjects. So if I say soy, it means I am. The I is included in that verb. It's not just am, it means I am. If I say eres, it means you are. It's not just are. The you is included in that verb because no other subject can possibly use eres. So let's look at a couple examples. I am a tall girl. So I am is actually just soy. But the yo isn't wrong if you have it there. So I'm going to put it in parentheses. But if the yo makes you happy, use yo. If the yo doesn't make you happy, don't use yo. So soy una muchacha alta. I'm using alta because it's una muchacha. It's a girl. Sorry about that. So, it's about a girl. Let's look at the next one. She is a short girl. So, she is ella es, and it's going to be una muchacha again. Una muchacha. Sorry, my board is smaller than my handwriting. Ella es una muchacha baja. She's short. Ella es una muchacha baja. So in this one, we don't need the yo. It's not important. And if you look at our sentence structure, in Spanish we have subject, verb, noun. The una muchacha is the noun. And then the adjective. Baja describes the noun, which makes it the adjective. So if you have any questions, please come see me. This is posted so that you can review all you want.